The following program does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Houston Community College or HCC TV.
Thoughtful ideas and suggestions for guests and topics.
Events, programs, and faculty. All the
Welcome to this week's segment of Dialog Houston. I'm your host, Lawrence Payne. To our regular viewing audience, welcome. To those joining us perhaps for the first time here for HCC's TV Dialog Houston, we're here now every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. We also can be found on Channel 57, The Cube, on Saturday mornings at 6:30 a.m. As always, let me thank you in the top of the hour for your thoughtful emails, calls, and phone messages concerning previous shows that we've aired here on your community station, HCC's TV, Public Affairs, Community Affairs show, but most importantly, your thoughtful ideas for guest topics and subjects to be covered on future segments of Dialog Houston. We really appreciate all that involvement and commitment to the show that we've developed over now in our 19th season. We have a great show planned for you today. We're going to look at, always in the first segment as we do, a special feature as a special part of what goes on in the broader life of HCC throughout the system. And this one I'm particularly proud to be able to present and to talk about because I work with the founder of the organization here at HCC's TV station and other things we do. And then we're going to take a small pause and break. When we come back, we're going to be looking at the issue of a conference coming to town here in Houston, brought to you by our City of Houston Planning and Development Department on neighborhoods. The National Neighborhood Conference is being hosted here in Houston by the department. And we really want you to know about it. And our good friend Margaret Wallace from the department will be joining us after the break. But for now, let me turn my attention to our good friend Erik Calderon, who is the president and founder of HCC, Houston Community College's MovieMakers Club. Welcome, Erik.
Welcome. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
And he also works with us here on HCC TV with Dialog Houston, and thank you every week for your help on that. I appreciate that. If it didn't already exist, you would have to create it.
Yes.
Because the idea of the MovieMakers Club, of young people already involved in film and production, was such a great idea. What kind of led y'all to the creation of this?
Well, I guess I was just sitting down one day and thinking, well, I was taking a class that had nothing to do with film production.
Right.
I was taking business and marketing and script breakdown, which had nothing to do with actually getting involved with film work,
right.
Like when you're taking cinematography or you're taking editing. And I wanted to maintain that ability to continually throughout the semester be involved with production work. And I know other students, you know, they'd face the same issues. Mm-hmm. So I decided to start the MovieMakers Club, and really there was that was the goal in the beginning, was to keep people involved with production, and then also sometimes like in a lighting class or in a directing class, like the lighting class we had to do 5 projects. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's hard to get people to help you to do those projects. So another reason was like we have the club and we're all meeting together, and if someone needs some help, we can pull from the talent of the members to help them with their projects.
So you basically can pull off of each other's expertise, backgrounds, and skill set, and between the group, you have every piece of the components that you need to do a film.
Yes.
And it's a learning, because as they do the projects, their own or others, and help each other, everyone learns in that process, because that's what it's all about, right?
Yes. Yep, that's what it's all about, learning.
Trying to get people comfortable in the field that they've chosen, that they want to explore more to really see if it's for them. But the more you do and the variety of things you do, the more you get more comfortable with that whole arena of things that come under film. Because there's a lot more than people think when you talk about film.
Yes.
So talk about some of the components.
Well, some of the things that we do in the club.
Right.
Well, at first we got involved with 48-hour film festival and the 24-hour film festival, which is like a festival here in Houston where you've got 48 hours to make a film.
To actually make the film, and then to view it, to show it.
Yes. You got and there was, I think there was about 50 teams in Houston on the first one we did, and we completed the film. We got like a 3rd place or runner-up or something like that in the audience awards. So we did good.
Okay.
And then since that we did several over the years. We also get involved with helping students do their projects. A girl came up to me, one of the members came up to me, and she said, "I've got this script I want to shoot." So I got the team together, we got everyone, we went out, it was a horror haunted house kind of film.
Wow.
We got a location, we got a great location.
Right.
It was Scream, I think it was at Haunted House.
Oh,
over
yeah,
there
yeah.
on
I
I-45.
know exactly what you're talking. Yes, yes.
And we shot it, and it was a lot of fun. Another thing that we do that's really exciting is the Movie Makers Clubs does the Movie Makers Academy movie reviews. So it's called HCC MovieMakers Academy movie reviews.
I love it.
And we shoot those once a week. We air them here on the channel, and it's all the club members getting together and doing
Wonderful.
it. Yeah.
So I love the idea of the 48-hour, 24-hour film festival. So you have this creative, innovative idea from conception to scripting to filming it to editing to showing it, all within a day?
Yes, 48 hours. Yes, 2 days. Yeah. And they're really careful about it too. So what they do is you pull from a hat a genre, right? So then that's your genre. If it's comedy,
So
it's
you have
comedy.
no idea until
no
you
idea.
pull from the hat.
Yeah.
I love that.
And the only thing you're allowed to do before the competition is get your crew together and try to secure some locations.
Right.
You can do nothing creatively.
Right.
You can't start writing it. And then they also insert like a line of dialogue and a character that you have to have in the film. So they get you.
But that really gets your juices flowing, your creative juices flowing.
Yes.
And then being able to work as a team, because that's part of this process.
Yeah.
Because that teamwork becomes very important in this.
And it's really great because in the past, I think we've done 3 48-hour film festivals and 1 24-hour film festival, and every single time, everyone in the group bonds better because, I mean, you're stuck with each other for 48 hours. I mean, it really takes that long.
There's a bonding, that's for sure.
There's a great bonding, and everyone gets to know each other really well. And I've seen students go off and like work together in other projects from that, so it's great.
And so at some point, when you produce these shorts, because I guess they're, what's the length of these mostly?
3 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these wonderful creative shorts, and there's another world of the whole short film festival.
Yes.
A lot of them around the country.
Yes.
We may see one of these in one of those national film festivals.
Hopefully, yeah.
And the club is 2 years old.
2 years old, yes.
How many members do we have now?
Well, and I've got, I created a Facebook page,
Right.
and in that Facebook page I have over 500 members.
Okay.
And for the meetings, we'll get anywhere from like 12 to 16 people coming to the meetings, but I consider those 500 members members.
So is it open to other than just HCC students? It's open to...
Yes.
Okay.
It's open to, and there's a reason for that because I want to get a lot of the film community involved as
You get
well.
more creativity too.
More creativity and more networking, especially when students graduate, they know more people and they're able to get jobs better.
And the film industry and the film companies in Houston, which there are quite a few of.
Yes.
Because we do produce, I forget the number, we produce quite a few major films in the city, even Hollywood films, they come in the film productions, and the Convention Visitors Bureau could tell me, and I used to know the number, of how many films are actually shot here in Greater Houston, this Greater Houston area. And many times they use students, they use people, the skill set of the people involved.
Yes. Yeah, there's actually one film, it was called The Preacher's Daughter.
Okay.
That, and it was Michelle, I can't remember her last name, but Michelle Maurer.
Okay.
Michelle Maurer went to HCC and she kind of asked HCC to help her. And HCC students actually helped her make the movie with all, with the HCC gear.
Right.
And she actually went on and sold that film to Lifetime Network.
Yep.
She sold it overseas, and from what I heard, she made a very good profit, and she got a contract to do another 2 films.
Well, I'm gonna date myself. There was a film shot here in Houston. Don't remember the year now. RoboCop 2.
Yes.
And I got to be one of the extras and in the crowd. Anyway, that was the year right after the Wordham Center downtown was finished, because that big scene with the robot is in front of the Wordham Center. It's also the year that the Ford Taurus came out with that new body design, because those were the police cars.
Yeah.
But it was amazing how many students came down to watch the filming and the shooting, because it was the first time that a major thing was shot where you could actually do it in the downtown area during the day and weekend where people could come. And from that, one of the young ladies who I interviewed years later here on Dialog Houston got excited about filmmaking because she got to come down and watch them actually shoot the film.
Yeah.
And came to HCC.
Yeah.
So you just never know that spark.
Yep.
That creativity and that spark is what it's going to take.
Yeah.
So before we have to get out of here time-wise, what do you want our audience to know and take away and tell us how they can get a hold of you and get involved with the wonderful HCC MovieMakers Club.
Okay, well, we're on Facebook, so it's
Okay.
just HCC MovieMakers Club.
All right.
And yeah, I guess I'd like everyone to know that the HCC filmmaking program is awesome. We've got several really, really good professors. I think they give you the tools and to be creative and do whatever you want to do. I remember I want to get a master's in film, and I was comparing a master's in film with an associate's degree in film, and well, of course, if you're self-motivated and you want to go after that, you'll get a lot more out of the filmmaking program at HCC.
Yep. And in the HCC associate degree in filmmaking, there are positions and jobs waiting when you're through.
Yes.
Because there, like I said, there are a lot of production companies and a lot of film companies in the city, more than people think there are.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
And they're always looking for talent.
Yes.
All right, we're going to have to get out of here.
Okay.
Eric, I want to thank you.
Thank you very much,
We look
Larry.
forward to working with you. I got a project in mind.
Okay.
For one of those 48-hour things for the HCC MovieMakers Club. My guest has been Erik Calderon, a wonderful founder and president of our HCC MovieMakers Club, also here with us on HCC TV. It's a pleasure to interview him. We're going to take a small pause and break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by our good friend Margaret Wallace from the City of Houston's Planning Department that's going to talk to us about two things, the wonderful conference coming up, the neighborhood conference, and also we have a general plan. Houston, we have a general plan, or we will shortly in a few months, and she's going to tell us about that. Please stay tuned and we'll be right back.
When you smoke, your child smokes. When you quit, you lower the risk of your baby being born early or developing asthma, pneumonia, and more. For tips to help you quit for good, visit yesquit.org.
I'm Chloe Dow. I'm a designer and owner of Latte Boutique.
I'm Sydney Dow. I do marketing and PR for Latte.
My reality is bigger than my dream has ever been thanks to Project Runway. Houstonians are really hungry for fashion.
We're kind of the frontier of small boutiques in the city.
It's just not about fashion in Houston. It's the whole scene of art, fashion, photography, even restaurant, the nightlife.
There's a lot of neat stuff that's going on in the city.
I'm Chloe Dow.
And I'm Sydney Dow.
And this is Our Houston.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Welcome back to this week's segment of Dialog Houston. If you're with us for the first part of the show, we had a great conversation with our friend Erik and the HCC Filmmakers Club, which we'll be talking about more in the future. As I said, joining me now for this segment of Dialog Houston is our good friend Margaret Wallace Brown, who is the Deputy Director of the City of Houston Planning Department. And Margaret and I were talking here before we came on the air that we've known each other, and we won't say how long. It goes back quite a while. So great to have you here.
Good to see you again.
All right. And I want to do three things in the time we have in this segment. The Houston's Planning and Development Department does a lot more than people really think we do. we cover a lot of things. So let's kind of talk about that, then we'll talk about the conference, then we'll talk about the plan. So
the planning department does a lot of planning. We are Houston talks about the fact that, or Houstonians talk about the fact that there's no zoning in our town, but there is a lot of planning, and our department is right smack in the middle of it. We have two big initiatives going on right now that are just going to be really important for Houston's future. One is Plan Houston. It's a general plan for the city of Houston, first one the city's ever had.
Ever, that's important.
Ever had. And it's, we're growing so much. We've got so many people moving into Houston, and what are we going to be, and what do we want to be in 20 years, 30 years out in our future? So based on a shared vision and some established common goals, this plan will help identify what changes may need to be made, what strategies may need to be put in place, how we might want to change the way we do business.
And it has had a lot of citizen input.
It's had a great deal of citizen input. It's got a very robust steering committee, and they have been out everywhere talking to people. There is a vision statement that they've developed, a draft vision statement, and there are 31 goals that they're talking about. And from that point, they're working on strategies and talking to the community about what's important for them. How do we address some of the needs that this community has?
And looking at the draft statement before we came on today and looking at those 31 goals, they really cover a myriad of issues impacting neighborhoods and communities, from quality of life to almost everything. And it becomes like a guide rail.
It does. It covers everything. Transportation and housing and quality of life issues such as arts and culture, education. Education is such an important aspect of getting Houston moving toward the future, and how we're going to be positioned to be able to provide the jobs and to be able to provide the workers for jobs. And so education's a big piece of this.
And this is something Mayor Parker wanted to do and wanted to make sure she got done during her term, and she's going to make it.
We expect to take it to council in August.
All right.
And she has talked about it in terms of having it be a benchmark against which the candidates might be measured.
Well, and I do hope that once it comes to council, and I'm sure it will pass council in August, that as the campaign season starts right after Labor Day officially, for the next 2 months, that whole discussion about the plan becomes part of that dialogue. I think you're absolutely right, as it should be.
Yeah.
As it should be for the next person, whoever that ends up being.
Certainly.
So if we have that plan out there with the 31 components, areas covered, when I read it, I was so taken that the specificity of, yet it's a broad guide rail and guidelines and context, but it's a little something for everybody. Whatever your passion might be about the city, particular area, you can find it in the plan.
You can, and more importantly, it's a little bit about everything we can do to make us better.
Yeah.
How
as
do
a city,
we,
as a community,
as an organization and as a community, how can we be better at what we're doing?
And when we talk about general plans, other cities have them, some do, some don't.
Yeah.
We have some history that we can check from other cities of how successful they've been at meeting those goals and objectives. And the conference that we're bringing to town obviously brings people from all over the country that, again, some have plans and involved and some don't, but it's a great brain thrust that you're bringing to town from across the country to be able to pick those brains.
This is a great way to see best practices across the country. And in fact, there's 5 or 6 people coming from across the world. We've got folks from South Africa and folks from Japan coming. So we're anxious for a multinational conference this year here in Houston. Neighborhoods USA has been around for 40 years. They started in 1975. This will be their 40th anniversary, and we're proud to have them here in Houston. We're proud to bring all of those ideas and all of those people, 1,000 people who love neighborhoods as much as Houstonians love their neighborhoods.
And people are very passionate, as we know, about their neighborhoods.
Yes, yes.
So you're bringing a bunch of passionate, committed, educated, dedicated people to Houston.
We are, and we very much want Houstonians to be a part of this, and I very much appreciate being giving me the opportunity to talk about this. May 20th through the 23rd. It is a Wednesday night through Saturday morning at the Hyatt Regency downtown. It is, we really want to encourage Houstonians to come. It is 4 days of informative sessions, workshops, keynote speakers. Angela Blanchard from Neighborhood Centers, Inc. is speaking, and Pastor Caldwell is also speaking at lunch. The organization also provides awards for great neighborhood programs, and Houston has some neighborhood programs that are up for awards this year, so that'll be terrific. Lunches, breakfasts, receptions in front of City Hall, all sorts of fun stuff, a great way to hear everything you'd ever want to know about neighborhoods.
Information's on our screen now about how they can contact you and how they can register. and get involved, and the dates and times and the contact information. It is one of those things that because we are the host and we're bringing it to town, the city, all Houstonians should avail themselves of it. This is one of those kind of lifetime opportunities for those of you who are passionate about neighborhoods.
Yes. I've been attending for a number of years, and the reason I wanted to bring it to Houston was I wanted to bring all of this information to our front door.
And people are familiar with the terms because I've had some leaders on of various super neighborhoods over the years. That whole super neighborhood concept came out of the planning department, where we went and organized geographically a set of civic clubs and other interested bodies into a regional group that allowed them to see not only their needs of their neighborhood, but the needs of the surrounding areas around them. They've been very effective.
They have been very effective. We work closely with the super neighborhoods, and now the Department of Neighborhoods itself works closely with them to coordinate what needs are, to do action plans, and to help funnel some of the other departmental and the other city activities into those neighborhoods.
So all this passion for neighborhoods in one place, it's going to be a wonderful thing.
We are great at putting our passion into action, and that is the theme of this conference.
Yeah, I had to get that in there because when I saw the brochure, passion into action, doesn't get any better than that.
That's what Houston's about.
Doesn't get any better than that. So as we take away and have to depart here for the moment, the conference, the general plan is coming, all that kind of fits together.
We have a new bike plan too.
Let's talk about, I think we have a little time to talk about the bike plan. And I had to kind of lead into it that way because I had a friend of mine who lives in Houston but been away on assignment for 6 months, and he came back downtown. He said, I didn't know we were the green road. The yellow brick road is now the green. So all things lead to Oz on the green road. Tell us, because if you go down.
It's a great dedicated lane that is used by bikers every day coming into their offices downtown and going home. It's a nice, safe, dedicated lane for them to use.
And we needed it because the safety issue of cyclists, particularly in the downtown area, gets very, very precarious.
Yes, so the mayor adopted Goal Zero, which is the program to reduce and eliminate pedestrian and bicycle deaths, and this is part of it. And the bike plan, we'll talk about that. We haven't had a bike plan in this town we haven't updated it since 1996. And this will talk about more than just infrastructure. We'll talk about education and other programs that will go along with it.
And the goal eventually is to connect all the bike trails and bike trails together all across
from
the
your
bayou.
Neighborhood.
You literally at some point, because if you looked at the map, once they're all connected, you can literally go from one end of the city to the other on a bike.
Yes, you can. And with so many people moving to Houston, we're going to have to put people on bikes instead of, we just need to figure out better ways to get around this town. And
the bikes that you can rent from the kiosks, those are working because you see people on them all the time now. So.
My understanding is, and I'm not sure about this, but I think the B-Cycle program is one of the largest in the nation.
Really?
Yeah.
Houston, we're getting very creative and innovative.
We're a great town, aren't we?
And the thing that we all saw in the Chronicle this morning about the Pierce Elevated, the idea to turn the Pierce Elevated into a pedestrian park, I just think is a fascinating idea and should happen.
Yep.
That's creativity and innovation at its finest. It is a great use for that area. It will put us on the map, not only in this country, but in the world as a very innovative, creative thing. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
And I'm sure planning will have a lot to do with it once it gets,
I'm sure it
gets going. All right, Margaret, let's just put up one more time how you can get hold of you and register for the conference. Again, it is coming to Houston. Neighborhoods USA, the national conference is here in Houston. The dates are May 20th to the 23rd here in Houston, Texas at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. You can see on the screen where to go to the website to register. We got a little time left, so I want to turn our attention to one other aspect. You've been with the city and the department a while now to have a historical context. From where we started and where we are now, what's kind of the next, besides the general plan, which is all-inclusive, what do you see the next iteration of where we're headed? Because you can see it now long-term because you've been there.
I think Houston is a community that has the whole world open to it, that we are going to, where we headed is into the next century, leading our country and leading our state. We are creative people, we are innovative people, we are energetic people, and that we will figure out through the general plan or through any other process we use, we will figure out what we need to do to make ourselves better, and we will do it.
And I think Margaret and I both have a kind of larger historical context on all this stuff. There were some things that we were involved in called Imagine Houston, Visions for Houston, and there was 3 of them. And we were involved in all of them, deeply involved in all of them. And they were all very creative and very innovative, and the reports that were given, but what it lacked was the piece that we now have for the general plan, how and where to fit those components into a structure.
Well, what many of them lacked was the idea that council would approve it.
Yes.
And so what the mayor is interested in doing is making this move forward and making this a living document and not just
sitting on the shelves.
Yeah.
It was good work, though. It was citizens brought together with passion, and that's why you got to come to the conference, because I'm excited about the conference. I want to hear and learn from what other cities are doing.
And you want to hear and learn how you can get a grant for neighborhood work, how you can, everything from working with volunteers to how to position your neighborhood to get corporate sponsorships for your activities and things.
And that's important. You know, what we've seen in the work, we've done some stuff recently with civic engagement through the Houston Public Library and others. If you don't ask, you don't get.
That's correct.
And if you don't put together a proposal, it doesn't have to be bells and whistles and every I dotted and every T crossed, but if you don't put together something that has credibility and credence to it, and you don't ask, you surely are not going to get. An ability to be able to ask, and as we were talking with Erik before with the Houston MovieMakers Club, they get $1,000 seed money. He says they can leverage that $1,000 by when they go ask for money of asking people to match that. Right? Because a lot of neighborhoods raise funds. I tell them the same thing. Go ask for matching funds. Don't go empty-handed. Don't go begging. Go and ask them to match what you have. And that dollar can go a long way.
And you'll learn how to do that in this conference, absolutely.
All right, you heard it again. You got to be there. There's no excuse. The skill sets you're going to learn interacting with people both here as Houstonians and others from around the city, those who you can really glean and get new ideas and creative ideas from. You can get best practices. You can see what's working, what's not working. You can talk to them about what they did, how they did it, and what they learned from what they did, which is always the important part, having experience and what we learned from it and takeaway. And come and be in an area that allows you to really create your vision and mind for this great, wonderful city. I always say living in Steve Kleinberg's Houston today is a fascinating place and getting more fascinating every day, and the changing demographics as well as the issues that we deal with. Come be part of Margaret's world and the planning world and the Neighborhood USA, and we look forward to seeing you there at the Hyatt. You have to go for now. Thank you, Margaret, for being here.
Thank you.
Until next week, as always, we look forward to you joining us, and until then, peace, power, and love.